These comic books continue to spark more of my memory. As Covenant discovers he had a child in life, I'm recalling my own son. It was not just Sarah I tried so desperately to return to in that graveyard that keeps flashing into my mind, but also my little boy. He could not have been older than 2 when I was mysteriously whisked away to that strange purgatory. As with Sarah, I only have fragments of memory. I know he loves to sing. I know he loves to read. I remember he liked dinosaurs and Pop-Tarts and Batman. I know I was proud of him. He was so advanced for his age. And I remember how happy he seemed with his mother and I want so desperately for that message from DT to mean something, and for this new development with my costume to signify what? Another chance? A second life? Like Spawn has? But as Cagliostro insisted to Al Simmons, and as he warns Covenant at the end of this issue, Hellspawns are bound to hell, are new creatures formed by the building blocks of the men who came before. Even if a Spawn manages to shake off the shackles of hell, he is not the man he was before. But I cannot ignore the swelling hope inside me that there is indeed more to this accursed existence than Mountain Dew and comic books. I feel more vital, more energetic than I have since I arrived here. This place is strange and surreal, but I know that Spawn is only a fiction. I cannot be a real Spawn. The real world, even the afterlife, cannot be a product of Todd McFarlane's imagination. The universe is not so badly designed. I also feel some of my personality and humor returning. I recall how funny I thought the Tick was, and how cool I thought Venom and Carnage looked, and keeping all of that in mind, my new appearance is quite awesome. Issue 3 is entitled Onward, and it reads as a perhaps unintentional slap in the face to the thinly spread storytelling and sluggish pacing of so much of the main title. Rarely would onward be an appropriate word to use in titling a Spawn story, but Covenant, having retrieved his memories and knowing he is, as Al Simmons also was in life, a man of action, amasses an army of peasants and soldiers dissatisfied with Revalin's tyrannical rule and plans to overthrow him. Covenant tries to take back his old identity as the Black Knight and right the wrongs that have been done in his country since his absence. He is still trying to walk the path of redemption. We learn that although he fought his god's enemies in his final crusade in life, Covenant ignored the abhorrent deeds of many of his fellow soldiers, who killed children and the elderly, and were pillagers before they were valiant and honorable soldiers. We also learn that Covenant and Revalin are brothers-in-law, and that Covenant trusted Revalin to take care of his country while he was away. So Covenant is motivated by both guilt and retribution, a deadly combination of emotions he shares with Al Simmons. They are not altogether dissimilar, except that Covenant's story is more engaging because though he is also impulsive, he makes plans, takes risks, and acts instead of only reacting. The problem with Al is not that he makes mistakes, it is that he never learns from them. That, and he is as boring as the gray bricks behind me. So far, much of the story is the same as the modern Spawn narrative, and it may prove to be convoluted and as nonsensical. Spawn arrives on Earth, discovers who destroyed what he cares most about, ignores his responsibility to Hell and Cagliostro's warning, and goes head-on against his enemy. But it took McFarlane dozens of issues to get to this place, with a lot of pointless filler in between, and a lot of melodramatic posturing from characters like Cagliostro, who comes right out and tells Spawn who he is on their first meeting in this series. Spawn the Dark Ages gets a lot done in 3 issues, and it is not the most complex involved story ever told, nor would I wager most readers would need to read Spawn in the modern setting first to follow it. But, to be fair, Al did return to see his wife again, and is tormented by not being able to be with her. And Covenant does not have that baggage because his wife died in childbirth. I do enjoy the striking contrast there. Al could not give his wife children, and Covenant lost his wife as she was giving birth. There are significant character progressions for the villains. Revalin has now lost his wife, another trait he shares with Spawn, and with it, any last shred of humanity. DuBlanc is also getting more interesting. His facial scarring has driven him mad, and he lashes out by delivering undeserved, unthinkable torture to the subjects of the land. He dresses like a devil now, and it is Spawn himself who drove him to it. I like how Spawn's actions are immediately felt throughout the narrative and how personally connected to his enemies he is. He is partially to blame for the state they find themselves in, and at least in Revalin's case, vice versa. It is too convenient that Revalin loses his wife just after DuBlanc goes crazy, and the resolution of last issue's cliffhanger is also anticlimactic. Spawn discovers he can teleport before anything happens with the 3 satanic women. Covenant is most certainly doomed to carving out a new life for himself. But am I? That note and my evolving costume are leading me to question everything. If only I had my own Cagliostro to fill in all the gaps. Signed, Unknown.